This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And we start off May with a birthday boy who's been deceased for a while, but the rule is I have to name somebody who's alive and all that. Well, I did do Marcus Stroman, I did do Curtis Martin, and I did do um, someone else, but I can't remember who. Oh, Wes Welker. But anyway, this man was born on May 1st and he was a legend in the NFL in the 1950s, especially the 50s. One of the hardest hitting tackles in NFL history, and he actually was known for a massive hit on a New York Giants icon, doing what they call the hit. So anyway, his name is Chuck Bednarik, one of the hardest hitters in or tacklers in history. So he was born May 1st, 1925 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. His parents actually emigrated from eastern Slovakia. That's named Bednarik. So anyway, he went through the military services. He actually was a waist gunner with the 8th Air Force and entered World War II, flying on 30 combat missions over Nazi Germany, getting the Air Medal, 4 Oak Leaf Clusters, the European, African, and Middle Eastern Campaign Medal, and 4 Battle Stars. Following World War II, he went to school at the University of Pennsylvania in Philly, which is an Ivy League school, the Penn Quakers. He was a 60-minute man, excelling at center and linebacker and sometimes as a punter. Now, the fact of the matter is that way back in the 1940s, 50s, well, practically before the 1960s, most players were two-way players, meaning they played both offense and defense, so they would be more mentally tough in a sense. Bednarik was a 3-time All-American doing all that. He got into the College Football Hall of Fame years later. He actually took third in Heisman voting in 1948, which was pretty good. He was named the greatest center of all time. Now, center in football is a whole lot different than basketball or even hockey with centers. But yeah, he was an offensive line guy who knew what he could do. The Eagles somehow got the number 1 pick in the 1949 NFL draft and took him. So he did quite well. Of course, Bednarik did his center linebacker stuff, winning 2 NFL titles in 1949 and 1960. And Bednarik made a famous tackle in the 1960 NFL title game. The Packers were driving, and Jim Taylor had one guy left to jump in the end zone, touchdown, game over. But no, Bednarik tackled Taylor at the 8-yard line, and the final seconds had ticked off the clock, meaning that the Packers could not run another play, and the Eagles would be the NFL champions. All that. Now, of course, how Bednarik prevented Taylor from getting up to spike the ball or call timeout made the NFL put in a rule penalizing defensive players for not allowing an offensive player to get up off the field. Anyway, there would be a lot of things going on. But no, well, he had a famous quarrel with Chuck Noll. Now, it wasn't a coaching thing. Chuck Noll was a famous coach for the Steelers, but Chuck Noll was also a player for the Cleveland Browns. Well, Chuck Noll smashed Bednarik in the face during a punting play. A few years later, Bednarik punched Noll in an on-field confrontation after the game. The commissioner fined Bednarik $500 and ordered him to apologize to Noll for the punch. Bednarik gave the apology, but Noll responded bullshit and all that. He was known for his durability, only missing 3 games in 14 years with the Eagles, named All-Pro 8 times, and was the last of the fragile 60-minute men who played offense and defense on a regular basis. He was known as Concrete Charlie because of his off-season career being a concrete salesman for a company. In 2010, he was ranked 35th on the top 100 greatest players of all time. So anyway, but the one thing about Chuck Bednarik that is well known to people is the hit. November 20th, 1960, Eagles were playing the New York Giants at the original Yankee Stadium. Frank Giffords had a ball, was running towards it, but Bednarik knocked Giffords down in such a way it was huge. It was known as the hit. He had a clothesline tackle of Giffords, dropped Giffords immediately to the ground, and he went unconscious. He was diagnosed with a deep concussion. And worse for Frank Giffords is that the Giants player was out for 18 months. So he practically was out for the rest of the 1960 season and the whole 61 season because of that hit. That's how ferocious it was and all that. Of course, Bednarik was criticized for celebrating Giffords' injury. A Sports Illustrated picture of Bednarik standing over an unconscious Giffords was iconic, showing Bednarik in mid-celebration right above Giffords as he was unconscious. Bednarik said he was celebrating the fumble caused by the hit, which the Eagles got, and clinched the victory, sending him to the NFL championship shot. Fortunately for Bednarik, Giffords said the hit was clean, and Chuck hit me exactly the way I would have hit him. So from 1949 to 1962, he played 169 games in Philly, made 20 interceptions, and 21 fumble recoveries. 2 big postseason games, 1949 and 1960 NFL title games, winning those. Of course, Bednarik was an outspoken critic of modern NFL players for playing only one side of the ball, calling them pussyfoots. They would suck air after 5 plays, and they couldn't tackle my wife. Regardless of that, Bednarik's number 60 was retired by the Eagles. So anyway, Bednarik actually had a quarrel with Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie in 1996. Lurie refused to buy copies of Bednarik's new book for the entire team, as that was against NFL rules. And the grudge carried over to 2005 when Bednarik cheered for the pass over the Eagles and all that. Fortunately, though, Bednarik and the Eagles reconciled by 2006. And all that. There is a trophy named after him for the best defensive player in college football, the Bednarik Award. And Bednarik would die March 2015 at the age of 89. And it was found out that he was suffering from Alzheimer's disease and dementia for years. And that football-related injuries played a role in his decline. Regardless, Chuck Bednarik was a tough son of a bitch. And you can take that to the bank. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.